I'm very nearly at the start of my route. I've got a little sailing dinghy out here, but I'm just going to miss because that would be polite. Okay, that's good. We've missed all of them. I'll just get ourselves out into the channel of fraction. Okay, once we're here, we go into our menu. We press for routes. There's our route. There's our route. And we're going to follow our route. Okay, waypoint arrival. That's our very first one. And now what it will do is, as we bimble along, it will show us there's our active waypoint. You can see it's got a little square around it, and as we do our route, each time we get to one of the waypoints it will beep, and I can also monitor my progress on the chart as well. So we just bring the revs up just a little bit so we get a nice cruising speed. We're not going to go fast, just to give you an idea of what we're seeing. So as I'm doing, obviously I've got to maintain a really good lookout as well, because it's a nice sunny day here in Poole Harbour, and there'll be lots of people out in their little boats. Some of the little dinghies travel quite fast, so we've got to give way to the sailing dinghies. In fact, all the sailing boats when they're sailing, so we need to keep our wits about us and keep a good idea on what is happening. So while we're going along, I've got this in north up, which means that my chart and this are exactly the same. Now, I've been doing this a long while, and for me, I learnt my navigation purely on charts where north was always at the top of the page, and therefore I like the plotter in north up. However, a lot of people don't, so you have to bear in mind that other people will have their plotter in a different format, in effectively a head up view. So I'm just going to leave it in my north up way, and at the moment we're going sort of roughly northwesterly, around about 275 on the compass, something of that nature, and we're doing around about 7 knots. Harbour speed limit in here is 10 knots. We've got a little boat coming up, so I have a little bit of wash from that in a minute. And up ahead I've got 2 oncoming. Here comes the wash, and then I've got the marks that I'm looking for in front of me. So just on my bow now, I've got the green and the red, which is the little gate here, number 13 and 14, and as we go past them you'll see that. Coming up towards our waypoint, the system starts to beep. Now if I ignore it, it will cancel it, or I can press OK. I have to be careful because we haven't quite reached the waypoint. There it is, and it's already giving me the indication of where to go for the next one. The data's up there as well. Bearing to waypoint is now 275. And it's saying it's a quarter of a mile away, and if I look down the compass on 275, there's the green that I'm looking for over in the distance over there. And the vessel coming up on our starboard side here, he's coming out of a channel. Just going to ease back a little bit as we give way to traffic coming from the right. He's coming from a minor channel, but he's still on my starboard side, so we'll just ease for a moment. There he goes. And you'll see our active waypoint has now become the next one, number 3 on our list. We started with 1, 2 and 3. And again, we can see the gate of the waypoints. There's the reds and greens, there they are nicely on the chart. Is this pair going to be the next ones along? Here comes up again, there's my little alarm. Again, you can adjust the alarm to how sensitive you want it. We've got it a little bit sensitive, it's probably on about 100-metre radius, so it's picking the waypoints up quite quickly. Again, I've got sailing dinghies off to my starboard side, need to keep an eye on those. And we've got a speedboat coming towards us that's definitely doing more than the harbour speed limit, but nothing new here. You can see that my waypoint arrival's gone off a little bit early again. I'm still going towards the west cardinal, which is on the bow of the boat. We're going to leave it. We're going to go west of it, so we're going to leave it on our port side as we go round. So we're going that way around it, and then we're going across the channel looking for a red. I can see the red now. We've got lots of traffic, so this is going to be exciting. And once we cross the channel, I'll change the screen so that you've got it in head-up mode, and you can choose. Now I've got traffic coming along, so I've just got to ease because they're on our starboard side. I've got to give way. Oh, obviously someone else doesn't know, so they've gone. So we'll leave them be. Okay, so we're going to cross the channel. I like crossing the channel at about 90 degrees. Just a personal preference. Allows me to make sure, a bit like running across a motorway on a busy day, and there's plenty of traffic out here. Now as we go across the channel, I'm going to swap. So we go advanced settings, views and motion, and we're going to go from north up to head up, which is the way we're looking. Now on this side of the channel, that's closed, come back out, come out. There we go. On this side of the channel, we've got big and small markers. So we've got the large starboard hand marks here, and then right on the bow now, we've got the much smaller posts. Now, because we're a small boat, just coming round for our course change, and you'll see now that I'm in head-up mode, the whole picture wobbles around with me. Now, if you can get your head round it, that's lovely. But for me, I've now got to rotate the chart so that when I look at the chart and the screen are doing the same thing. So here we are down the bottom. We're going along here. We've got a little bit of traffic with the yacht on our bow. So we're now coming along this section here. And we're going between the big lateral red marks and the much smaller red posts. And that works fine. I find it a little bit more difficult for pilotage because I find if I've committed the picture of what it all looked like in my head, the moment I turn it round I struggle, but that might just be me. You've got to choose what works best for you. So we're going to run the plotter in head-up mode now. There's a third option which is called course up, and if you're using a long distance on one particular heading, it holds the overall heading steady, as opposed to at the moment, if I turn the helm, you'll see the picture will move as we turn, and then as I come back the other way, the picture will move again. So the problem with head up is everything moves with the head of the boat. Makes it much more difficult. And now we're just caught on the wash of that motorboat up in front of us. I'm just going to ease down a little bit. So we get our own clean bit of water. Again, we've got to keep a good lookout. We've got a couple of jet skis up ahead as well, who are obviously enjoying themselves, causing chaos. Right, we'll just bring the speed up again and see if we can get just off this bland wash, because that'll make life much happier. So, if I just reduce my picture down a little bit, there's our next waypoint. And on the starboard side here, you can see Brownsea Island. All nice and happy there, all looking good. As we come round, we'll be following Brownsea Island round. You can see me going through the gap between the two buoy and post here. Again now, just got to be conscious of where we're going. We're just up at the edge of our channel. As we come past this man, we've got our post and our red buoy up on the bow. Quite happy with where we are now. We're just at the edge of the channel. Depth's still fine, that's all good. And up on this corner, here's another of our cardinals. This is Aunt Betty, which is an east cardinal, Easter egg shaped. And at the moment, we're on the east of it, which is all good news. We're going to come round to Aunt Betty, then we're going to have two more reds, and then we cross the channel again down to our south cardinal, which was at the bottom of our little route. There's our next waypoint. So we're coming round, there's our next active waypoint, coming down to those there, and then we're going to have a really good look because we're going to cross the channel, make sure that we're not cutting across anybody. I could continue to the next red and then come across at almost 90 degrees. Because it's much more open here, I can see far more clearly, and I'm quite happy with crossing at an oblique angle if I've got good viz. There's my next arrival, and now we're into much more open waters. The difficulty is actually spotting the mark, so the bearing to them is really crucial. From our little plan we had all the bearings, and I can now pick up the bearing, look down the bearing, and I can see the mark, and it's just fine on my port bow. Nice little distance away, just under half a mile. As we come across, a little bit of wash from the motorboat on our starboard side. Nice and clear of the yacht on our port side, and we're going a little bit quicker than him. So we're fine here now to continue. And on here you can see that the bearing to the waypoint is about 160. We're steering about 170, so it's going to be off our port bow, and there it is, right where we expect it to be. Distance is coming down, 0.3. Got paddle borders as well, don't want to give them too much wash. So there's our mark. Nice little south cardinal called Bellboy, and we're going to round that to port and then come up into our inner channel, the middle ship channel, and that will take us back round to our marina. We've got two off the port bow at the moment. One's going reasonably quickly and a much slower one inside of him. So as we make the turn, there's another one coming up fast on our port side. Here comes our waypoint alarm. There's our waypoint, nice on the port bow now. Just going to ease the power a moment because that guy is not conscious of where we are. He's expecting us to go out of the harbour. So I'm just going to ease down for a moment. There we go, they're going round, that's fine. All quite happy. And again now, I'm looking down the compass for my compass bearing. And with the aid of the bearing, it's about 060. There's the green mark I'm looking for, fine on my port bow now. So round we come, and as we bring the speed back on, there we are, bearing to our waypoint from now is 048, we're doing about 053, so we're pretty good there. You have to remember that your course over the ground shown is what you're actually achieving after any wind or tide have affected the boat. So they don't always match with what you look at on the controls. You've got to bear in mind that they're giving you the resultant, which might not be actually where the boat is heading. So we're heading about 058 on the compass, and we're getting about, well, round about 045, so quite a difference there, a little bit of breeze pushing us off. Here comes our next waypoint, nicely on the bow again, very happy with that. Again, we've got traffic off to port, paddle borders off to starboard again. Make sure nothing's coming off the moorings, no one behind us. Very nearly approaching, only two more after this and then we're back at our little start point. Okay, as soon as I press it goes on to the next waypoint. You've got to remember that we want the bearing from our last waypoint to that. So at the moment it's saying 352, which is just west of north. Again, I can look down the compass, look across, and this time we don't have a green, we just have reds on this section, and I can see the reds, but obviously I need to keep away from the reds on leaving them well to port, and that will then take us back in. See, I'm bang on the track on this one, showing me nicely that the boat icon right on top of the black line that we drew. and then the dotted line is what we're actually achieving at the moment. And the very fact that they're pretty much on top of each other means that we're exactly on the track we intended. This last gate here, we actually got a red and a green. Another little sailing dinghy, got to allow for them. Just coming up on my last waypoint here. You'll see we're very nearly back where we started. So from planning the route on the chart, working out my bearings and distances, putting it into the plotter's really easy, and having done that on the chart, it allows my head to process, am I happy with the information in front of me? I can monitor it all on my little box on the side. That's giving me the information of where am I looking and what's next. So we're just going to ease down gently as the last waypoint is achieved, and that works really nicely.